Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to my WWE NXT review for January 11th, 2017. Sorry I missed this episode, but after this, I will officially be pretty much all caught up with the main WWE roster stuff and obviously NXT itself. And I'm looking forward to watching this episode because this actually looked like to be a really good episode. We're going to have an appearance from the NXT Women's Champion, Asuka, and we're going to have a rematch for the NXT Tag Team Championships. NXT Tag Team Champions, hashtag DYI versus the Revival. Obviously, they have a loads of history from last year. They pretty much feuded throughout the summer and fall of 2016. They hashtag DYI beat them in a match on NXT. And then the Revival beat them for the NXT Tag Team Championships at NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2, and to retain the titles. And then at NXT Takeover Toronto, hashtag DYI defeated the Revival in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Tag Team titles and became the new champions. So this is now the Revival's rematch clause. I believe this is going to be the last match in the feud. So I'm looking forward to seeing the matchups because the matchups are always fantastic together. I don't think it's going to probably be as fantastic as Brooklyn 2 and Toronto, but this will still be a pretty damn good match. So I can't wait to watch NXT for this week. And I'm going to do the same thing that I usually do. I'll watch a match and then I'll kind of cover this show in small videos and make it into a big video. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And let's get the NXT reviews started. Okay, so now NXT is back in Full Sail University. This is the first time they've done a show in Full Sail University in 2017. And we have Showtime Percy Watson, Corey Graves, and Tom Phillips on commentary for this show. And the show kicks off. It shows Asuka backstage, and she's not really backstage, but she's outside. And she's about to get interviewed by somebody, but before he or she can ask the question, she gets attacked by Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. They beat the crap out of her. They throw her into a bus, and then Billie Kay pours a drink over Asuka. I thought this was very good because this sets up Billie Kay versus Asuka, or some sort of variation with a triple threat going in, because you need to build up some contenders for Asuka to face for the NXT Women's Championship. So I thought you did just that here. And then we had the first actual match on the show. It was Billie Kay and Peyton Royce versus Macy Evans and Sarah Bridges. This was pretty much a squash match. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce win when Peyton Royce hits the bulldog on Sarah Bridges into the knee of Billie Kay and she covers her and gets the victory. Then afterwards, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce get on the mic and say, "Do you still think there's not competition? The real competition was right here all along." And she says that we won this NXT Women's Division and all we need is the NXT Women's Championship. And then Asuka comes out and she's all beat up and she wants to get her hands on Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Referees are trying to hold her back, but she gets in the ring and Billie Kay and Peyton Royce put the boots to Asuka, and then she gets saved by Nikki Cross, which was kind of weird at first, just because Nikki Cross is supposed to be a heel. But I actually thought, Nikki Cross is like a psycho. She's supposed to be someone that you want, that it should be locked in a straitjacket. So it makes sense for her to come out, just in a sense. I just think it's a little soon to be putting her in this type of spot, though, to be going up for the NXT Women's Championship. It's just really too soon. But she ends up chasing away Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. And then she goes off the top rope and hits a high knee on Asuka, lays her out. So you still kind of build up a feud there. So what's probably going to happen is they're going to probably do a fatal four-way between Asuka, Nikki Cross, Billie Kay, and Peyton Royce. Or just a triple threat and taking Peyton Royce out of the picture at NXT TakeOver San Antonio. But overall, this was solid. You made Nikki Cross look like a threat for the title. I personally don't think she should be in the NXT Women's Championship picture, but that's just me. Okay, so next it shows Asuka very pissed off about the fact that she was attacked, and then Sanity gets interviewed, and Nikki Cross says that she's going to take the NXT Women's Championship from Asuka, and Eric Young says that Sanity came here to take, and and that's where we're gonna start. And then they walk away, and when they walk away, we see Damo watching um, them. So I definitely think he is gonna end up joining Sanity in the future. But I thought this was fine. And then we had the next match. It was Elias Sampson versus Jonathan Cruz. Before the match, Elias Sampson performs a performs a concert talking about how he's a lost man and everything. I thought it was good. And the match itself, I thought, it was an enhancement match. You don't really expect a lot from him, but I thought Elias Sampson looked really strong out there. And he ends up beating Cruz with a neck breaker. So overall, not a bad match. Okay, so next match was Adrana Cien Almas versus Orny Lorcan, and I thought this was a good match here. Adrana Cien Almas is posing in between the ropes, and Orny Lorcan drop kicks him out of the ring, and then he hits a blockbuster off the steel steps, which I thought was cool. And then Adrana Cien Almas dominates the matchup for a while, but then Orny Lorcan makes a comeback. He hits a wicked uppercut, and then he hits a hip attack in the corner, goes for the blockbuster coming out of the corner, but Almas moves out of the way. He acts like he doesn't want to fight him by going into the ropes and kind of crouching, and referee has to pull Orny Lorcan back. Then he drop kicks Orny Lorcan's leg and hits the hammerlock DDT for the win. So I was fine with this, and then afterwards he gets interviewed and saying that in 2017 there's going to be no mistakes because this is his dream, and he says that Orny Lorcan was first and that Roderick Strong is going to be second. So I think at NXT Takeover San Antonio we're going to have Roderick Strong versus Adrana Cien Almas, which I think makes sense since Roderick Strong was the one that eliminated him from that fatal 4-way match, so I think that makes complete sense to do that match. Okay, so next, Tom Phillips interviews Shinsuke Nakamura, and he asks him how it feels to finally have his rivalry put aside with Samoa Joe, and congratulates him on the title victories. And he says that though were tough matches, but he's still the NXT champion. And then he asks him about Bobby Roode being the #1 contender and what he thinks about Bobby Roode. And he says that he likes Bobby Roode. He thinks that he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and that he's good looking and well dressed, but he has not strong style. And he says that he tried to get a word with Bobby Roode, but he refused to be on camera. So Tom Phillips gives him a ticket from NXT Takeover Dallas last year, which is Bobby Roode's ticket to where he was sitting at NXT Takeover Dallas. And Shinsuke Nakamura then says he kept this, and this does hype me up a little bit to see Nakamura versus Roode. But next week, which obviously is this week because it's Monday now, they're going to have a contract signing between Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode, which I, can't wait to see. So overall, I thought this interview was pretty good. Obviously, it's tough to kind of do an interview with Shinsuke Nakamura just because he can't speak English very well, and he can't really speak a lot of English. But overall, I thought, he was good here. He cut a good interview. Okay, so then we had the main event. It was a NXT Tag Team Championship match. NXT Tag Team Champions #DIY versus The Revival. And this was a really good, actually I want to say this was a great NXT Tag Team Championship match. Great main event here. #DIY dominate the first half of the matchup. And then eventually, behind the referee's back, Dash tags Dawson, and Dash takes out Johnny Gargano's knee, and the Revival just really work over the injured leg of Johnny Gargano for a long-ass time. I thought they did some really good tag team moves together. They did a spot where they did a Dawson did a backbreaker, and Dash ended up going up off the top rope and hitting a axe handle to the chest. There was another spot where the Revival were beating up Johnny Gargano on the outside, and Gargano is 100%, and what ends up happening is he tries to go to make his tag to Tommaso Ciampa, but Dawson takes him out with a shoulder block, which I thought was sick, and then eventually Tommaso Ciampa gets the hot tag. He starts taking out the Revival. And he starts taking him out, but then eventually the Revival get the upper hand. Dawson tries to, no, Dash tries to roll up Ciampa, but he won't go down. So then Dawson takes him up with a clothesline, hits the roll up, but kicks out, and then the match just starts breaking down into chaos. Hashtag DIY and the Revival just start brawling. There was a spot where they tried to do then the heart attack on the Revival tried to do the heart attack on Tommaso Ciampa, but Johnny Gargano ended up taking out Dawson with a super kick, and then Tommaso Ciampa puts Dash into the Fujiwara armbar, and you think Dash is gonna tap out, but Dawson tries to stop the submission, but Johnny Gargano tries to stop him from stopping it, and Dawson shoves Gargano into Tommaso Ciampa, so he's not able to do the submission. And what else happens? Then eventually on the outside, Gargano tries to go for this. Then Johnny Gargano gets tagged in. He tries to fight him off with one leg. But he tries to go for the spear, but he gets caught into a DDT by Dawson. Kick out, and then Johnny Gargano takes out Dawson with a suicide dive, and then Tommaso Ciampa takes out Dash off the apron and hits a wicked knee to the head, and he ends up taking himself out by colliding with the belt with the timekeeper. And then eventually hashtag DIY win with the Meet Me in the Middle on both the Revival and retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. I thought this was a great match. Not as good as the matches that they had at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 and NXT TakeOver Toronto, but still a great match. And then afterwards, Paul Ellering comes out, and the Authors of Pain attack hashtag DIY from behind. They beat the crap out of him. They hit the sandwich power bombs, and then they just lay him out with double power bombs on the floor. And afterwards, they hold up the NXT Tag Team Championships, pretty much saying that they want to come after those titles. And backstage, William Regal makes the match for NXT TakeOver San Antonio. Hashtag DIY versus the Authors of Pain for the NXT Tag Team Championships. He also announces that there's going to be the contract signing between Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura, even though we already knew that. And we already technically had known that the Authors of Pain were going to face hashtag DIY. William Regal made the announcement a few weeks ago. I guess they just wanted us to forget about it. But then Asuka storms in and tells and demands that William Regal makes the NXT Women's Championship match for NXT TakeOver San Antonio. And William Regal says, against who? And she says, all of them. So now it's going to be the Fatal 4-Way match between Asuka, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, and Bayley Kay, which I think is going to be a really good match. And I think NXT TakeOver San Antonio is looking like to be a good show so far. We have Nakamura versus Roode for the NXT Championship. We have the NXT Tag Team title match between hashtag DIY and the Authors of Pain. And we have a Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship between Nikki Cross, Asuka, Peyton Royce, and Bayley Kay that I think is going to be good. So NXT TakeOver San Antonio is looking to be a good show so far. So overall, I thought NXT was actually a good show. Not a great show, but a good show. I liked a lot of stuff on it. I liked the I like the stuff. I like the stuff that they did with the woman this week, setting up to that Fatal 4-Way match. Elias Sampson squash match was okay. Drana Cien Almas and Orly Lorcan had a good match. And the NXT Tag Team Championship match was great as always. So overall, I thought this was a good episode of NXT. And make sure to subscribe to my CM Brothers and on the Talkinator channel, and make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.